Yo, what's going on YouTube? And welcome to Goal Line Hockey. It's your boy Kevin Forte, and today we're going to be taking a look at the latest news around the NHL for the 2021 NHL season. We'll be taking a look at all that in this video. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. And let's take a look at the latest news on the 2021 NHL season. Alright, so before we get too far into this video, just want to give a quick plug to our Instagram and Twitter handles at goalline_hockey. Links will be in the description down below, as well as throughout the video. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's get into today's video talking about the 2021 NHL season. And I hate to say it looks like it will be the 2021-2022 NHL season at this point because, yikes, it seems like the deadline keeps moving back, but we'll be looking at that here. So, the other day, there was an interview between the Vegas Golden Knights owner, Bill Foley, where we got a little bit of some details into what we may see in next year's NHL seasons. So the big things we're going to look at are the possible division alignments as well as the schedule for when the season will begin because, we want to know when the season starts, right? So we're going to be looking at those in this video. So we're going to start things off looking at the schedule in terms of when the season will begin. Now, if you remember back when the playoff bubble was announced and all that, it seemed like the NHL was pushing to have the season start this year in December of 2020. Yeah, that's not happening. So now, as we get toward the Stanley Cup final, we start to hear that, all right, maybe it's January. They want to wait till the calendar flips to 2021. Regulations may change, rules may change on how many fans can be in the arenas and stuff like that. So we'll wait till January of 2021. And now, as we're sitting here today, it seems like February, possibly the first week of February, it's getting pushed back to once again. So, not the best news in that regard. That's why I talked about this first, because I don't know what the NHL is going to do. There's a couple of things that you have to look at, too. The longer the NHL pushes this next season back, we're going to see more complications with, malnutrition with players, and it condenses the schedule because, as crazy as it sounds, they have to think about the season after next season, when that begins and when that ends, because then that affects the next NHL season and the next NHL season after that and moving forward. So the NHL is trying to somewhat get on a schedule that they like. It's going to be interesting, though, because if they go to February, we're almost, eventually we're going to get to a point where we're going to sit where we stand this past season, where if we start in February, it's not crazy to think that we see another Stanley Cup champion in October again. So, it's one of those things. Some people like that. Me in particular, I don't know, because I'm starting to watch college football at that point, so it gets lost in the radar for me. But it's one of those things, I guess, that's just part of it, right? So we'll see what happens with that. But just keep that in mind, because now the schedule gets more condensed. We'll see more back-to-backs, as well as more 3 games in 4 nights, which I don't know. I don't think goaltenders or players that are playing 20-plus minutes a night, I don't know how they're going to feel about that news. So let me know what you think of that in the comment section down below. Now the other thing we have to get to is the situation with the possible realigning of the divisions, and that being that we will see an all-Canadian division. So they may do away with the conferences entirely next season. And then you just have the Canadian division, where I think they're still going to cross the border, but I think it's going to be more restricted. So let's say Toronto or Edmonton or one of those teams, they're going to play each other. Instead of playing each other twice a year in Edmonton and Toronto, you're going to see them maybe play each other 4 to maybe 6 times that season, and that way they're not crossing the border as much. And maybe they'll take one trip down to Boston, one trip down to Philadelphia. They'll play 2 teams on a road trip. So they'll go to Boston and Buffalo, go back home. Then they'll go to New York, play the New York teams. Then they'll go back and play Philly and Jersey, go back and kind of do something like that. I'm not sure exactly how the NHL wants to do that, or they just completely eliminate the border entirely. So all the Canadian teams, you just stay in Canada, and the U.S. teams, maybe they segregate the U.S. teams where you've got maybe like a Patrick division comes back. That would be kind of cool, right? So you've got the Northeast teams, you've got the Southeast teams play each other, and then you've got the Midwest, as well as the Pacific, and that's kind of your divisions, but they're not really divisions. They just all play each other, which I think will be good because now you're going to see more games between Toronto and Ottawa, Toronto and Montreal, Calgary and Edmonton, Vancouver and Edmonton. So we're going to see more of those divisional rival matchups, which I think that's a benefit. I want to see more of that battle out of Alberta. I want to see that. So I feel like that could be a benefit to the NHL season. Obviously, we'll see how that goes. We'll see more between the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers, or Philly and Jersey, and Florida and Tampa. So I think that would be good for the NHL this season. Again, if it's not a permanent thing, I think it's better off. But just as a one-time thing and to keep teams more centrally located and instead of spreading out all over the place, that may be something the NHL looks at. And then it brings up the question of, should the NHL just put the entire division, let's just say, right? Keep the entire metropolitan division in New York, and they just all play each other in the New York bubble. And then you've got Montreal. You've got everybody playing in Montreal, in the Montreal bubble, or Toronto, whatever, right? So maybe you just have all the teams in a division go to one centrally located area, so they're all in that bubble, and they don't leave that for the entire season, which could be a disadvantage because now you're talking about, the Pacific Division. Vegas might dominate that division more because we've seen the Los Angeles Kings, the Anaheim Ducks. You could argue maybe Arizona or or San Jose. They're still in a little bit of a rebuild, some of those teams. So Vegas would have an edge over, say, a Metropolitan Division team, who that entire Metropolitan Division really is up for grabs. All those teams are competing, and they're going to be pretty tight in that division. So that's a little bit of a disadvantage, but that's something the NHL, I guess, just has to live with, right? So let me know in the comment section down below. What do you think of some of these things that the NHL is going to have to figure out for the 2021 NHL season? When do you think the NHL season will start next year? Let me know in the comment section down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey, want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.